I got a call from Suge Knight. I don't know if you know who Suge Knight is or not.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So one day I'm sitting around, I get 2 months ago, one of my guys says, hey, Suge wants to talk to you. And I get on the phone and this Suge collect call from jail. Hey, Patrick. Hey, Pat. Hey, PBD, how you doing? Hey, just want to know, the hood fucks with you. I'm like, all right, cool. So we start talking. I'm a hip hop guy. I followed him. We were on a flight one time from Burbank to Vegas together, me and Suge, and years ago. And this is a regular Southwest Airlines flight from Burbank, Bob Hope Airport. And I said, hey, Suge, question for you. I said, what is the stories about, Diddy hanging out with 13-year-old Usher, living with him for a year allegedly, Rob, if we can see what the timeline was. And Justin Bieber goes there as a young boy and stays with him on all this stuff. Two kind of weird stories. Says, he says, do you think those types of behaviors are natural or taught? He says, Diddy didn't do that on his own. He was taught that behavior. And I said, okay, taught that behavior. By who? This is what Suge Knight claimed.
Okay.
Suge Knight claimed by men like Clive Davis. I don't know Clive Davis. I've never spoken to Clive Davis. I've never done an interview with him. But I've read a lot of weird things about Clive Davis over the years. Interviews, he said some very weird things. Strange answers that he's given. But it made me think, he's right. You hear stories about many times when a person goes to jail, they become even a better criminal because it's a university to know how to do additional type of crime, right? Did you ever have any friends or peers or people you saw, Jeffrey, because the way you're explaining, happy family, mom, you said right kind of mom, raised the right way, all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, boom, you pick up bad behavior. Did you ever see him get associated with certain men where you're like, Jeffrey, stay away from that guy. That guy gives me the bad vibes. Did you ever have any experiences like that?
No, because we didn't socialize together. So I didn't meet the people he was hanging out with, and he didn't meet the people I was hanging out with. Remember, I saw him, I didn't see him for 7 years.
Yeah.
Which, and so that puts it back to 2012, right? My mother passed away in 2004. And between 2004 and 2012, maybe I saw him a half a dozen times. So, like I said, we lived different lives, different worlds, different friends.
Never saw anybody, huh?
Oh, I mean, years ago, there were some people that, like he was involved. I thought you were going, when you first started talking about the money thing, I thought you were talking about that guy Hoffenberg. I had met Hoffenberg once back in maybe in the 90s or early 2000s.
What'd you think about him?
He was just a guy doing business with Jeff. He seemed okay, We didn't talk business. I didn't know what they were involved with. They just knew they were partners on something.
What happened with Hoffenberg?
He ended up going to jail for some kind of Ponzi scheme thing. Yeah.
And they were in business together?
They did some work together. They were involved in some way, shape, or form. The details of which I don't know.
Just can you type in Hoffenberg and Epstein?
I did meet him once after Jeff died. I spoke to him once after that because I had questions about.
What did he tell you?
No news, nothing to report. I almost forgot that I spoke to him. Yeah.
Jeffrey is a mentor. Oh, this guy was a mentor to him who once ran a Ponzi scheme, was found dead. He was 77. Wow. So this is what I mean by it. And so Hoffenberg, 77, have died 7 years. His body was found Tuesday at Derby by police. Responded to a check on welfare. His welfare authorities say identified dental records because of his cause of death as pending toxicology. Test results and autopsy shows no signs of trauma. And there was no indications of a struggle or forced entry. The apartment, go a little lower, Rob. Epstein, the disgraced financier who killed themselves in New York.
I hate when I see that, when they say he killed himself. No,
killed himself. Yeah. So the kill themselves bothers you more than a disgrace.
Yes.
While awaiting a trial on allegations, he sexually abused, Hoffenberg, worked for Hoffenberg's bill collection. Oh, this is the guy that they would go and collect the monies from, the bad broker.
No.
In the late 80s, when prosecutors said the Ponzi scheme began, what was the business model? Hoffenberg, who once tried buying the New York Post, ended up getting busted in one of the country's largest frauds. He admitted to swindled thousands of investors out of $460 million and was sentenced in 1997 to 20 years in prison. He claims Epstein was actually the architect of the scheme, but Epstein was never charged. He was released from federal custody in 2013, according to the Bureau. prisons. It was not immediately clear how he ended up living in a small apartment and multi-family home in Derby, about 12 miles, Bridgeport. Gary Bass, one of Hoffenberg's friends and lawyers and a former acting deputy U.S. general, said Hoffenberg and Epstein had a special relationship, and Hoffenberg and Epstein said Epstein was the smartest person he knew when it came to money. Said Hoffenberg was also very intelligent, which may have contributed to the downfall. He was way too smart for his own good. He thought he could get away with the Ponzi scheme, but he could not. He did not have self-control. He always thought he was smarter than the next guy, and that was one of the problems, but he was a good man. So he was more, Hoffenberg was more. Rob, can you go back to Hoffenberg's Wikipedia if you could? He was more like who's the guy that did the $52 billion that they made a video about him, a documentary about him, and Pacino, I think, starred him, or De Niro starred him. You know who I'm talking about, Rob, the guy from New York? You know who I'm talking about. Who did the $52 billion scheme in New York? What's his last? Madoff, right?
Yes.
So was Hoffenberg like a Madoff, or you don't know?
I have no idea. I met Hoffenberg a couple of times briefly, and didn't give me any indication of who he was, and I never met Madoff.
Pleaded guilty, 407 to 20 years, plus $1 million fine for every reason, restitution on his schemes, his family. Okay, so you met him. So your impression of him was what? Was he sharp? Was he? What was he like?
It just seemed like one of Jeffrey's associates that, they didn't leave in any, strong opinion or negative or positive. Yeah.
So one of his opinions, but the way they're writing it, they're saying that this guy could have been his mentor. You weren't aware of that.
I knew they worked together. They did some stuff together. I don't know the details of the relationship.
See, this is where I'm going with this because, Jordan Belfort from Wolf of Wall Street? You ever seen the movie Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So first time Jordan and I am talking to him somewhere in Manhattan Beach, I said, so tell me about your family. Well, this is that. I said, what were you supposed to be? He said, I was supposed to be a doctor. Really? Yeah. What was your major? I think he said biology, if I'm not mistaken. And I said, so how did this happen? Well, I get out. I want to be somebody, good family, nothing in the upbringing of mom and dad. So you can't blame the mom and dad. And then stocks, boom, penny stocks, learns bad habits, JT Marlin, and then, whatever the company's name is, not JT Marlin. I think that's from the movie Boiler Room. But anyways, he starts this company, and the next thing you know, he makes his money. So he learned his bad habits from somebody. I'm just curious to know where he picked up some of these habits. Has your mind blown up yet? Have you sat there and said, I cannot believe what Mark just said to me? Allegedly. This interview is a perfect interview to go sport the gear. Allegedly, if you haven't ordered your shirt yet, click here, the QR code, go to vtmerch.com. Place your order allegedly. It's one of the hottest items we have in our merch store. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.